it makes me wonder, why can't they do that? And the same goes to Soulcalibur V. Soulcalibur V to me does the same thing. I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. You have the alpha and the omega version of both the brother and the sister. Could you just add the alpha version as a third selection to Protropius, as well as the omega version as a third option to Pyrrha? It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. It does not make any sense whatsoever that you need to select two different styles. I mean, you have to select them again as two different characters. It really bugs me at times why they would do that, but when you take a look at the fighting styles, though, that's the only thing that saves me. That's right. That's right. The fighting styles are different. That's the only reason they would do something like this. They would add, the alpha and the omega versions as separate characters, on the roster because of the different fighting styles. Now, hopefully, if they do a 6 game, which I think if you want to round it out, a 6 is a good number to round it out at. If you want to round it out at 6, like I said, which is a good number to do, I think one of the things they have to really, improve on there, if anything, is just, if you're going to do something similar to this, what you need to do is, when you bring out the super forms, if you will, of these characters, just add them on, just have them added on as a third or fourth option, so that way, you'll have more room for other characters to be added in. You won't have to worry about that. But again, I can completely understand why they did it, because of the different fighting mechanics and styles of the alpha and omega versions of these two main characters. But like I said, hopefully if they do a 6th one, they can, kind of evolve. They can kind of evolve it to the point that when when you unlock these, like I said, these super forms of the characters, that instead of having them being separate characters because of separate fighting styles, you can have them added as a third or fourth option with their different fighting style, so that you can have more slots open for different characters to add in. So hopefully that's the next evolution as far as I'm concerned. Or one of the next steps in the evolution. But overall, it's a very, very unique, like I said, the story's very good, the CGI is very good. I mean, yeah, there's people that have the opinions about the still imagery being used during the story to tell it, but like I said, I think it's mainly a mixed bag, or sort of a fusion, if you will, of manga and CGI anime. That's the way I look at it. So that's how I see this whole story mode here. But then again, looking at the characters, like I said, the only thing that really bugs me, but I do understand, is the fact that they have to create separate slots for the alpha and omega versions of the brother and the sister. But I can understand, because of the different fighting styles and mechanics of those super forms. Of the super forms, I can understand the reason behind that. And again, like I said, if you're looking for Sophie, you do sort of get her with Emeris, or whatever her name is, the Greek goddess, if you will, the spirit entity of Soul Edge. You sort of get her, you sort of get Sophie, but with a different name and sort of a different look. I mean, the face is definitely her. You could tell it's her. But it's a different character, different name. But at least in some ways, Sophie's in the game, but like I said, under a different identity, if you will. Now, like I said, again, and I know I'm repeating myself, again, the unique perspective of Emeris, Edgemaster, and Keelik is Emeris can mimic all the characters, all the female character styles. Edgemaster, I think, does them all. And Keelik, I think, does the male ones. I'm not sure. Maybe he does them all. Again, I can't really remember. I have to look again. But at least you have 3 characters that mimic the character styles there, and that's a unique thing in its own right. Because again, it will throw, when you face your opponent, you'll face your friend, or face someone online, if they're new to the game, it'll throw them, as well as probably throw you a little for a loop, because you'll never know what fighting style you have to perform next, or what fighting style you're going to perform next. As far as the other portions of the game, like I mentioned in the first video, Quick Battle, well, I didn't mention Quick Battle, but Quick Battle, let's talk about that for a second. Quick Battle is a unique concept, and I think I did mention in the first video. This is a concept that you could throw tons of hours of time into and really have fun with it, because you would never know who you're going to face next. The Quick Battle basically allows you, and I said this earlier in part 1, it allows you to play against different created characters, like Angry Joe mentioned, different created characters from around the world. And this is something that you don't normally get even with Mortal Kombat, right? Or with Tekken, or whatever other games. You don't get this. You don't even get it with the WWE games. The only way you can play as other people's characters on the WWE games is to download them and play them as if they're your own. Or if you want to play against them, you got to go online and hope you'll face one. You face some unique characters. But you can't play them offline because for some odd reason they don't allow that. Or they didn't allow that under the THQ license. But again, getting back to what I'm saying, the quick battle mode is really, really unique, because not only do you face endless created characters, but you also do face the established characters as well in the games. For example, you'll face at times Natsu, if you will, or Maxi, or Hilda, and a few others. You'll face them. Now, the one thing that does bug me a little bit about quick battle is I understand that the higher you progress, the higher your level gets, the harder it may get when you face different opponents. And I can understand the flags and all that kind of show that maybe, but the higher you get, the harder it does get. But to me, I can understand that in some ways, but there are times, and let me know if you guys have experienced this as well, but there are times to where when I'm playing against somebody, when I'm playing against somebody's created character or an established character, that's going to take me possibly, and I'll admit this, 4 to 5 times maybe, just to finally beat this character. Whether it's created or established, it would take me 4 to 5 times. And here's the reason. It's either A, it's harder to beat because I've progressed higher with my player level, or 2, the way I've looked at it, and I'm not sure if any of you looked at it the same way, someone hacked the game. Yeah, let me explain when I say that. When I say hack the game, I basically mean somebody will hack the game with either a created character or an established character to the point that it'll be, unless you figure out exactly what they're going to do next, which I've done, like I say, on the 4th or 5th try, maybe even, I'll even go as far as to say 7th try, that character is always going to be hard to beat. Because there'll be times you're going to try to get up and it won't let you get up. It won't let you get an offensive move in. I mean, Angry Joe can say that Nightmare and the other bosses in story mode are basically feel like levels of Shao Kahn cheapness. If people are hacking this game with the created characters or the established characters, then you're looking at Shao Kahn cheapness there, courtesy of those hackers. But again, I can't really know if that's true or not unless there's a progression in the game and it's just getting harder. But here's the reason why I feel it could be hackers. Not saying it is. It's because the characters seem to repeat one move all the time. In fact, there was one created character I faced. They kept making sure I got towards the edge of wherever I was and made sure I fell off into the river. And I'm thinking, come on, dude. You know, what's the point? You know, it kept ringing me out. Basically, they kept ring outs. They kept putting me in a ring out, and a ring out, and a ring out. And I'm thinking, come on, dude. Give me a chance to fight. And it's not, and nobody's on the other end, which is crazy. And again, you know, to me, it makes me wonder whether or not these characters are hacked into when they're created. If not characters, it makes me wonder if these players hack into the game with these characters or with the established characters just to piss people off. Because again, I know I'm not the only one that goes on quick battle in a game like this, and as I progress higher, if you will, realize that it's going to be harder, but also realize that there could be, but also notice that that the fighting style seems to be a little too aggressive at times, not just because of the possibly the harder difficult level, but also due to the fact that there could be a hacker. And again, I'm not saying there is, but the way, again, some of these characters just fight you at times, it's like, you know, what's the point of fighting this character if you're not going to be able to beat this character until the 7th try at the most? You know what I'm saying? It really doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. But again, let me know if you guys have experienced that, because I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that's felt that maybe somebody's hacked the game in these situations. Now, I will say this about online and online and stuff. It's really unique. It's really fun. I mean, the lobby and everything's great. Basically, you have to wait for a while, and while you're waiting, you see like when you go into a player match or a ranked match or whatever, you have to select a room, right? Or select a region, and they're going to try to find that region for you. And when you find that region, you either have to sit in a queue, and then as you see, basically on one side, on the right side, if you will, you see where you are and see how you slowly progress up until it's your turn to fight. On the left side, you get this small screen for spectator mode, which is really unique and really cool. Cool. So while you're watching yourself progress and waiting for your turn, you're able to see this match between the host fighter and whoever the challenger is at that time. So that's really, really cool and really, really, really unique if you like that kind of stuff. You also, again, you have global accession. Basically, it's a lobby where you could chat. You can enter a tournament when tournaments are open. You can go into a situation where you can be, because there's two little squares in the middle. One's a tournament, which is in red. The other is the tournament. Well, one of them, they're basically colored red and yellow, or red and gold. So one's a random battle, which I think is gold, and the other is red, which I think is tournament mode. So you can enter either one of those, or like people have said, and Angry Joe said, you could challenge someone directly. Now, that's pretty cool. And if you do rank matches, you will achieve some achievements if you win them, and you'll progress higher in rank as well, just like any other game. As far as the creation mode goes, it's really, really fun. The more you do in quick battle and in the story mode, you do unlock more bits and pieces, just like you unlock different other stages as well to fight on during the story mode and the quick battle mode. But during this as well, but also you unlock all different kinds of items for your creation when you create them, or modify any of the established characters already on the roster. And to me, that's I've always liked creation mode. I don't think I'm the only one. Angry Joe likes it. Everybody else likes it. So it's really, really fun. The only problem I do agree with Angry Joe on is the fact is your character has to mimic an established character's fighting style. Now, that's not a new thing when it comes... That's not, like I say, a new thing when it comes to fighting games. It's always been there. It's always been there. Hold on for a second.